Ladies and gentlemen, forwards did the magic. If you are in that situation where right now you are in a fuel queue, or you're spending more than you should have spent on petroleum products, or perhaps you're running out of budget because the price of things have obviously skyrocketed, then you need to know that forwards did the magic. Recall the words of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Inauguration Day, where he said, fuel subsidy is gone. Those were the four words that did the magic.
No provision is there for fuel subsidy. So fuel subsidy is gone.
Now, it was exactly 6 days ago when I actually traveled to Port Harcourt on the Inauguration Day. I went on an official trip and I couldn't listen to the live broadcast of the president's inaugural speech. But when I went back home, I actually took time to listen to it. By the way, much credit to him. His words were very articulate. Even though Nigerians are obviously tired of English language, what they want is action. Now, when I listened to this thing, I heard him say these words, forwards, fuel subsidy is gone. And when I drove out the next morning to buy and buy fuel, I saw that fuel prices had skyrocketed already and there was fuel queue everywhere. I found out that the fuel prices was actually 511 naira per liter in Rivers State. And I was like, wow, what happened? The forwards did the magic. And obviously, Nigeria's economy is largely dependent on the petroleum sector, so every other sector is going to be influenced. Now, in all fairness, I'd like to appreciate Bola Ahmed Tinubu's courage to take the decision. Even though there's a big but to it, right? I'm going to be sharing the but to it. Do well to stick around and I'll give you details about this. My name is Moses. Welcome back, guys. So what exactly is the big but? In all fairness, Nigerians are ready. Nigerians support the removal of fuel subsidy. Why? Because there's this matrix, there's this cabal, there's this politics, there's this corruption surrounded around the fuel subsidy. Now, for those who do not know, what is fuel subsidy? Fuel subsidy is actually the subsidization of petroleum products by the federal government. The federal government does well to subsidize the price. That is, pay marketers some percentage of the landing cost of petroleum products. Now, we all know that Nigeria has crude oil and we sell out this crude oil to other countries and do well to import refined products. Even though Nigeria has about 5 to 6 refineries that are not working. Now, for the records has it that Buhari's administration spent over 1.5 trillion naira doing well to revamp our refineries that is not working and is not producing petroleum products up until now. Details on the screen. Now, having said that, the truth is the corruption around this cabal, the corruption around this fuel subsidy removal is alarming, and that's why Nigerians are saying we're going to support you to remove it. But the process with which it was removed is where the issue is. Before you engage in such an action that would obviously have a ripple effect and a knock-on effect on every sector of the economy, since Nigeria is largely dependent on petroleum products to generate power, to move by transportation, to move food items and all, you must do well to have a robust stakeholder engagement. Now, that's when we talk about the mitigative measures. The first mitigative measures that people are saying the federal government has missed is that they never had a robust stakeholder engagement with stakeholders like the Nigerian Labour Congress, with stakeholders like civil society organizations, economic experts, and all that.
At the preliminary stage, he stated clearly that he's going to consult, he's going to engage, and that he's not going to dictate over Nigerians. So the question that you've asked was consultation done? The answer clearly was a no. Before you go into such sensitive issues and such sensitive areas to have those conversations, I think there must be discussions around it.
Now, because they never had this stakeholder engagement with other stakeholders that should have advised properly and been involved in the decision making, they have issues like the Nigerian Labour Congress coming out to say that they are going to go on strike in the next few days. So what is that going to have on the economy of Nigeria? It's going to have a negative ripple effect. So this is exactly what we're saying. Now, hear what Nigerian Labour Congress has said about the strike, why they want to go on strike, and how the federal government never got them involved in this decision-making process.
Subsidy has not been probed all these years, and for anybody to close that chapter is like covering fraud. The NLC decided that if by Wednesday next week that the NNPC refuses to revert itself for negotiation to continue, that the Nigerian Labour Congress and all its affiliates will withdraw their services.
Now, the second mitigative measure we're talking about is the issue of Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. A few days ago, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation came out and said that they were pegging the petroleum prices at about 400 to 500 and something naira per liter, right? Now, Femi Falana, who is a renowned human rights activist, has come out to say no, because Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has actually been privatized. They don't have that right anymore to go ahead to begin to say that they are pegging petroleum prices by law. Let's hear from Femi Falana. Let's hear what he has to say about this. And I'll be back to tell you some issues about the mitigating measures that should have been put in place.
NNPC Limited, a private company, was alleged to have fixed the prices of petroleum products or jacked up the price. This is clearly illegal. There's no provision for it under the law.
You've seen it, right? So another issue that should have been considered before declaration of such critical issue is the issue of Dangote Refinery. Now, Dangote Refinery was obviously commissioned some few days ago before the exit of President Buhari's administration, and some people are saying that that was just a ribbon cutting event where Dangote Refinery has actually not commenced or started production. Now, information has it that Dangote Refinery is going to commence production by 2025. What is going to happen to Nigeria? NNPC has come out to say there's going to be other marketers, there are going to be other people are going to get involved in this. Yes, fine and good. They are all saying this because they have seen the reactions from Nigeria, and for me, that's like a damage control. All thanks to the federal government for coming out to say they're going to review the minimum wage of workers, which should be one of our major mitigative measures that should have been put in place before even this action is taken. They are going to create palliatives and all that. These are mitigative measures that should have been put in place. Increasing the salary. Now, let's look at another mitigating measure that should have been put in place. The issue of interest rate review. Currently now, medium, small scale industries are going through so much pain. They are remember that they are dependent on the petroleum product to generate power for themselves. These guys do not have power to do their business, and the economy of every nation is largely dependent on the medium, small scale industries. Now, what's going to happen to them? They are going to buy petroleum products at a very exorbitant prices, and obviously they're going to skyrocket their prices. The interest rate should have been reviewed. What is the interest rate currently for business owners? How much can business owners access loans? These mitigative measures were not put in place. So this is where we're talking about the federal government missed it. They should have ensured that these processes are considered and more based on the advices that should have come from the experts and other stakeholders before they went ahead to remove the fuel subsidy completely.
Afford to remove subsidy permanently. I will say this. What is Venezuela? They were in the same situation. They were losing $12 billion annually to marketers who were selling the product to neighboring countries. They believed that the right thing to do was to remove subsidy. They failed to go after the corrupt people in the process, and they removed subsidy. And we see where Venezuela is today. We see what inflation has done to that country. We see how their currency has become useless completely.
So let's jump right to the issues of the disadvantages. What are the disadvantages this can actually cause to our economy? The first of them on my list is corruption. Now, the federal government has come out to say this is going to reduce the corruption in the petroleum industry, right? The truth of the matter is that when you do not ensure that these mitigative measures are put in place, corruption is going to skyrocket in other sectors of the economy. Why? People have to survive. People have to find a way to pay their bills. So any means available for them to raise this money, they will do so because they need to pay their bills. Even if it's by corruption and other means, they will do that. Now, another disadvantage we're talking about is the depression that this brings to our society. The first depression that society suffers is high blood pressure. They say Nigerians are suffering and smiling. Nigerians know how to endure pain. But if you go and look at the rate of high blood pressure among Nigerians, it's increasing by the day. Why? Because the pressure on Nigerians is quite on the high side. You have the issues of depression. You have a lot of high social vices that is going to be increasing by this. The third disadvantage that this action can cause is what we call the devaluation of the naira. You skyrocket the prices of petroleum products, and what happens? The price of every other thing increases. Why? Because the man who is increasing the price of production. So what happens? The price of everything increases. The value of naira reduces, right? So this is another big disadvantage, that if mitigative measures are not properly put in place, it's going to obviously affect the naira. Now let's jump right to the point we are trying to make. The first point we are trying to make, and we hope that by either directly or by proxy, someone is going to be hearing this message that is going to send it to those in the corridor of power. The first thing we are saying is that before such critical actions are taken, there must be a robust stakeholder engagement. Who are the stakeholders that are going to suffer from this? When you make this statement, who is going to suffer from it? Nigerians are going to suffer from this. That's the truth of it. So you must make sure that there is a stakeholder engagement. The second of them is to ensure that the mitigative measures are put in place. What can we do to ensure that the impact and the knock-on effect of this decision is properly handled so that Nigerians do not suffer, or it does not have a ripple effect on other sectors of the economy? Review of the mitigative measures. And the last one is that there should be proper communication lines. Nigerians need to know what the implication of these are. The average man on the street doesn't know why the fuel prices are up. So they cannot even cope. They cannot understand why things are changing. They needed to properly be communicated. And those who have been the marketers in the marketing, in the petroleum marketing sector, who have been diverting product, because information has it that most of the product that was subsidized for Nigerians to use, some marketers do well to divert it to neighboring countries. They do well to divert it to the likes of Niger and other countries around and sell it at exorbitant prices. Get sometimes times 10 of the gain that should have made when those products were sold in Nigeria here. So those marketers who have been diverting and causing this corruption should have been brought to book.
These marketers can then take that same vessel, instead of taking it to their tanks in Nigeria, they take it offshore, sell, and they make up to $10 million.
What we're saying is that the issue of this fuel subsidy must first of all be critically looked into before the fuel subsidy is completely knocked off. That's the message. I'm sure that you learned something from this message. If you have a different opinion about this, please do well to go to the comment section and drop your comments there. And I'd like you to do well to use less harsh words. I'm going to come back to the comment section and do well to communicate with you and hear what your plight is. Tell us what you think. Tell us what your thought is about this whole petroleum subsidy removal, and do well to like this video as a means of courtesy to the producers of this content, and we're going to be continually here to serve you. Do well to hang around, because we're going to be bringing more entertaining and insightful programs like this. My name is Moses, and this is Think Tank TV. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye for now.